All right, here we go. Hi, I'm Reggie Ponder, the Real Critic. This is the Real Critic Roundtable, where African American critics come to discuss, debate, and have some fun. As you can see, I'm laughing already because the fun has already started. Sorry, we did not tape it, so you don't get the benefit of that conversation. Anyway, I have with me my friends. I want to thank KB for giving me a call. She was like, "Look, are we on? Are we talking? What's up?" So thanks so much, KB. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to diving into some stuff that we've missed over the past few weeks.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. And then, of course, we have Katia Woods in the house. Katia, good to see you again, and thanks for joining.
Happy to be here.
All right, so we got a couple things we want to talk about. Um, and from a box office perspective, this one movie, I think people really felt that it would save the box office, that it would be that thing that would kick off the box office right for this year. And of course, that movie is Top Gun Maverick. And Katia, why don't you tell us what this one is about and what you think about it?
Well, if you saw the 1986 one, well, Generation X, we're almost ready to be senior citizens, but we still remember enough of the first one. We were 16 now, we almost ready for our ARP card. But nevertheless, Tom Cruise is still Pete Mitchell Maverick, and he is now a test pilot because he done upset everybody, and that's the only job he can get. They put him out in the middle of nowhere. But as we all have in movie magic and non-realistic history, somehow somebody vouched for him, Iceman of all people, Val Kilmer, to bring him back to Top Gun, even though he destroyed some very expensive equipment. And he gets to bring his crew. And of course, like, since he's older than me, he's not the hotshot guy. So now you have a new generation of pilots that he's going to trade. And he now is that old guy that they're making fun of, just like he used to make fun of. We also got a little side story. Goose can't come back. Even, movie magic couldn't do it because Goose died. That was his best friend. And his son is now a fighter pilot named, code name Rooster. Very original right there. And he's one of those Top Gun pilots. Of course, we can't have Tom Cruise in a movie. Well, Kelly McGillis has not been deemed attractive enough to play the love interest. Also, she's older than him and taller. So they have to give him a new love interest, Jennifer Colony. And she owns the bar where all the fighter pilots go. So we have the conflict is this is Maverick's last ha ha because the Navy is like, we can't keep holding on to you, no matter how great you are, because you don't follow the rules. Val Kilmer was great to see in this, and I'm glad they kind of had him, and I love the way that they did it because it was very respectful. Because he has cancer, he's recovering from cancer of the throat, and let's just keep it 1,000. The plot is very loosey goosey, and we knew that. We came for Tom, and we came for the foolery. We came for the special effects. If you're looking for some deep meaning into this, I'm sorry, this is not the movie. This is sheer adrenaline. This is sheer entertainment. Heck, they didn't even really bother to give you a new soundtrack. They just said, bring Kenny Loggins back. And we were 2 seconds away from getting Need for Speed. John Hamm looks great. We got some black people that didn't die. All in all, it is a good time for your money if you're looking for a summer movie and a little bit of a nostalgia. If you're looking for some deep meaning, leave it alone. Leave
All
it at
right,
86.
all right, KB, your thoughts.
Katia said, we got some black people that didn't die. Please, like, just taking me out. I actually really enjoyed Top Gun Maverick. To Katia's point, though, I'm going to be 100. I don't know any summer blockbuster films where you're going to get depth. Like, I don't think that's why we come for the summer films, right? Like, and technically, yes, I know summer is not here based on the calendar. Like, we still have a couple more weeks before summer actually occurs. But we all know that Top Gun Maverick was supposed to be the opening summer film that people wanted to see. So, I enjoyed it. I will say this, and this is coming from me, and we'll get into Jurassic World Dominion, but someone who is a huge like Jurassic Park franchise fan, I felt like this script was more together than that one. Like, I mean, so I was like, Top Gun Maverick at least connected things way more seamlessly for me to the first film. So I feel like this film really is, you know, for everyone that loved the first film and wanted the nostalgia. Like, I feel like the people in my theater were fans of the original ones because there were definitely like there were no young people in my screening, but that's okay. Like, it was a great time. And I think for people who haven't seen Top Gun, the original, you actually don't need to watch it to watch Top Gun Maverick. Like, I don't feel like that's necessary, which is kind of good for the introduction of new people. Like, if you're trying to get new fans on board, you know, maybe they went home and they watched the original after, but it's not really necessary. You can pick up on what's happening. They have some, you know, like scenes and footage from the first one. They're giving you all the context clues you need. But for me, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, like, whole film I was like, is this the end for Maverick? Because I'm okay with having this younger generation kind of take up the mantle. If they decide to have a third film, you know, give us more Jay Ellis, give us more Miles Teller, who, you know, I feel like Miles Teller's best film is Whiplash, hands down. It's one of the most incredible films I've ever seen. But, you know, he was good in this as Rooster. And I liked kind of the dynamic between Rooster and Maverick, but I think it's a necessary, you know, passing of the baton. I think if we're going to have a third one, you pass it to them, you let them do it. You know, Maverick can just be with his new girlfriend. Well, his rekindled girlfriend. I don't want to say new since, you know, they've been together before. His rekindled girlfriend, Penny, and her daughter, Amelia. And he can live a life of ease and maybe finally retire, because I do think had he retired sooner, we would not have Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, but he needs to retire because he stayed getting in trouble, and we just cannot do it. We truly cannot. So I think it's fun though. The special effects are fun, but the whole time I really wanted to be like, now Tom Cruise, how we get these real F-18s? How? Who said yes to this?
They actually did say yes to it, and they paid a lot of money to get into those and put, I think, 6 cameras in each one of the in each one of them. So the way they shot it was real. I agree with you guys almost to a T. This is a fun movie. It's nothing special though, nothing special. But I felt like this is a good date night movie. You go, you had a little bit of romance, a lot of action, some stuff that doesn't make any sense. But I mean, I agree with you, KB.
But actually, you know what? I will say this. You also get a little bit of Mission Impossible in there. I don't care what nobody says. Towards the end, it was getting real Mission Impossible-y. I was like,
and to answer Reggie's question, you know, when this movie came out in 1986, it was more or less a indirect commercial for the Navy. They used some of this footage in the Navy commercials, and the enrollment in the Navy went up a good 25%. People enlisted because of this movie. So naturally, the Navy is going, sure, you can use our planes. You can see how cool it is to be a fighter pilot. The other thing is they also have a diversity problem in the jet pilot program. Only 2% of the pilots are African American. That's men or women. So this is, again, the Navy goes, we have an issue here. We're working really hard on our diversity, but we're not. 60 Minutes just did a report on that. And this is a great way also to advertise. I will say that my only downfall with this movie is, and I can't believe, well, you know, it's not as far as script. I'm not going to go there because I had zero expectations. But I do think that as far as the military is very diverse in terms of women. There were no women in superior position. JAG is very integrated, and it's the firefighter program is very integrated. Women are serving on cruisers and everything like that. I would have liked to see some more women in positions of authority.
So that's interesting you say that, because in my review, I also felt that even though they had the one of the new recruits have a bigger role, she had a bigger role. I'm forgetting her name, but
she was Phoenix.
She was Phoenix.
Code name was Phoenix.
I still felt that they underutilized the women in it. They showed her. She had a little something to say, but it was still male dominated. And you know, I don't know if that's because they're thinking, you know, still old school or whatever. But I really did notice that while they had women, I wanted to see more of them in the dialogue and in in the interaction. The thing that the biggest thing that got me though was that they firstly I enjoyed it. So I want to say that again. I enjoyed it. I had a good time, but this was not for me like the movie that I would run out and go see. If Donna had said to me, "Hey, let's go to the movies," I would not have any hesitancy on. I wouldn't be like, "Oh man, I got to go see it again." I'd be like, she and I would have a good time. We laugh, we have some adrenaline going or whatever. But the thing that got me was that how they brought up the love interest in this one with Jennifer Connelly, it just didn't flow right to me. I guess, after 30 years, you think that there would be somebody else that he would have dated or whatever. But the way they put it together, I'm like, it really did feel forced, and it wasn't as sweet as what we got in the first one to me.
No, you make a valid point. The other upside is they were closer in age. At least they didn't get him some 20-year-old. She's in her 50s, he's in his 50s. So in that way, I thought they did a good job. They didn't go out and get him some 20-year-old. It's as far as like the chemistry wasn't there, but as far as life situations, it
was real. It was realistic. Yeah,
and
it was realistic to have them at this stage in life.
It was realistic. And another good point that KB brought up, this is a movie that, you're right, younger people, like my daughter's generation, wasn't like, oh, I want to see Top Gun. This was definitely a movie that was supported heavily by Generation X. It was a, nostalgia. Hey, we were in high school. We had the poster. We all had the stupid Top Gun poster. We all bought the bomber jackets because of that movie. I had one. I admit it. So that generation was like, it's a lot of craziness. I want to escape. I want to have some community and rah. Let me go with my girlfriends or my husband to see this. So I think this is also the power that older people, if you have a good product, will go out and make a viable winner out of something that younger people may be like, I don't want to go see this movie that my mom wants to see,
Yeah, I will say, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I will say, leaning into, again, another critique, because you guys mentioned the lack of, I guess, women agency in this film. I'm actually going to say Kathia actually wasn't that diverse either. Like, realistically, when you think about the film as a whole, it is still very much about white men and male domination, white male domination, because even the black and brown characters that were in there,
I was about to
they were still secondary. Like, it wasn't like they did a lot. Yeah, they're still like filling the background. And also, you know what? I'm going to say this because I think it's a huge disservice. Manny Jacinto, is in this film, who is a fabulous actor and really had no words though. Like, legitimately no words. I happen to notice him because he's fine, so I will always pick him out in the crowd. But I was just like, what? Like, literally no words, no dialogue. And I was like, wow, that's a gross misuse of Manny because he's so talented. So yeah. I mean, even the people of color, the black and brown people of color, were just like,
I did like Bashir though. Bashir was my guy. My guy was Bashir, and he did have, things are going bad.
You're right.
He said, would you like a coffee, sir?
Right.
That ain't exactly what we
need. But Bashir had
Right. And Bashir was really the only, like Jay Ellis. Jay Ellis is talented. And I feel like, they used him for his height and his flying skills. But when it came to dialogue, how much of Jay Ellis's dialogue do you remember?
He didn't have that much dialogue. But I do want to give a shout out to my Chicago people. So I'm so glad that you mentioned Bashir as well as Charles Parnell. So so I was happy that they both they had speaking roles, so
they had agency. They had real parts.
They absolutely, and they were boss. So, but I was going to mention the point that you said that was going to be my next one, is that I didn't think that they gave that second crew of people. I don't think that they got that much agency. You saw Jay, and you were like, oh, there's Jay, but they didn't give him as much to do. Nonetheless, I think that this movie, to kind of go back to what you said, Kathia, I think this movie did what it had to do. It didn't try to get too fancy, try to figure out, get the plot too twisted. They're like, look, we got to make sure that Tom has a love interest, and we got to make sure that these planes look good.
Now I have a question. I have a question because I don't know. Has Tom ever had a non-white love interest in his film collection?
Tandy Newton.
Oh,
in
okay.
Mission
I was
Impossible.
curious because I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I just don't know, so that's why I'm
No,
asking.
I will give him credit.
Okay.
Whether it's in, I said in my review, one thing about Tom Cruise, whether it's primary or secondary, he has used his star power to have diversity in casting. Now, could they have more agency? Yes, but that's one thing I will say about Tom. If you look at all his movies, there's always people of color, and they have real like roles. You know, Angela Bassett,
Ving
Ving
Rhames.
Rhames,
and that
right?
type
So
of
I
thing.
knew from that standpoint, but I didn't know from
she
a
was his love
romantic one.
interest, absolutely. And it wasn't like, oh, we're just cutesy. Like it was really, and I think that's something that other stars that keep making all these excuses. I'm like Tom Cruise, who's from the old guard. Let's be honest, right? If he can say, hey, I want this cast, or just cast people, and maybe it could be because he has an adopted black son. But the point still is, if Tom can do it, what's the excuse for everybody else who came as the diversity discussion was front and center? They have none.
I love that. Well, we want to move on to our next movie, but for me, it's a watch it, KB.
Yeah, for me, it's still a watch it. Listen, it's a good time, and also it made me more curious about like fighter jets, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm into it now. So like, yeah.
So you about to enroll? Okay.
No, I'm definitely not going to enroll, but I definitely will watch it. I mean, some of it was quite terrifying. I was like, please don't put me in one of these. But I mean,
I know that.
It's a good time. Like if that's what a summer movie is, like KB said, summer now starts in February. So for us, we've been in the summer movie mode, but
good
but
stuff.
it is a good time. It's a good date night movie, I would say.
All right, good. Well, we're going to move on to the other blockbuster. And KB, you already kind of previewed it a little bit, so I don't even know why I need to say anything, but I will. This movie is Jurassic World Dominion. And in this one, they try to bring various generations of the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park universe franchise all together in one film. Now, let me tell you. This is a film where the humans and the dinosaurs are living together, and they have to figure out how to live together. Now, you already know that that's going to be a chaos. That there's going to be a problem with that. But the way that they bring all these characters back, they work too hard. They worked way too hard to how to bring all these characters back. They get the Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard thing, and they try to fix that one with some girl that they got, and they end up going to this biotech place, and then they get the Laura Dern and Sam Neill thing, and she's looking for some proof or something, and she has to go find Sam, and then they look at it, gaze in each other's eyes, and they love. Well, it looks like they love each other, and they go to the biotech place, and then of course they got to figure out how do we get Jeff Goldblum in it. Oh, that's right, we'll make him part of the sellout crew. We'll put him in that thing, and in some kind of way, they're all going to come together because they're going to find somebody doing what every movie does, trying to manipulate the DNA of these dinosaurs for their own good. It was a hodgepodge of mess for me. Now, what they did always do decently to me is that they always do well, knowing that they need to make the dinosaurs the star. Make sure you see some good dinosaurs. Make sure they eat some people. Make sure they eat some animals. Make sure they do something. So I think they did a good job there. This was a disappointment for me for it being the end of the franchise. If it really is the end of the franchise, it wasn't a terrible movie, but it definitely wasn't as Jurassic as I thought it would be. I felt that the relationships were tenuous at best, and at least they gave you the action that you were looking for. I have a tepid recommendation for this one. Go see it if you love this franchise, but don't expect that this is going to even be close to the excitement that you get. There was nothing new in this at all, and I was definitely disappointed. I'll go to UKB because you're laughing at me.
Yes, because Reggie said there was nothing. Like, wow. Listen, As someone who, so I tweeted about this because Jurassic Park, the first one, is truly the first film that I saw that made me fall in love with cinema. I mean, I remember my entire movie watching experience from top to bottom and how it made me feel and how excited I was. So I come to this franchise literally for the dinosaurs because I mean, honestly, I'm like, I know I just said I wouldn't be in an F-18 because it's kind of creepy, but if you put me around some dinosaurs, I might have a good time. I know that seems wild, but I'm just kind of like,
Nice
I don't know.
Right.
Right. Put me in some dinosaurs. This seems so fun. So like, I'm truly here for the dinosaurs. But I agree with you, Reggie, in the sense that, like, honestly, from the opening scene, I was like, what's happening? Literally from the opening. So I was like, I don't think this is going to go in the direction that I think it is because I'm already confused. And we just got here. Like, for me, the film felt rushed. Like, in every spot. It never got to a moment where I was like, okay, yeah, this actually makes sense. Like, I'm pretty sure I never felt that way because the whole time I felt like we were just rushing and rushing and rushing. And so, like, yeah, I love the OGs. Like, do I love, Laura and Sam and truly the OGs are fantastic, obviously. And I actually really enjoy Bryce Dallas Howard. I mean, shout out to her because she was truly the only person to save Twilight as a villain. So like, I mean, she came in here and I'm like, okay, shout out to you. I like the addition of DeWanda Wise, mostly because we have not had a Black woman queer lead in this franchise ever, like, playing a Black woman queer character in this franchise rather. And so it was good to see, but even that, in my personal opinion, in the cut that I saw, who knows what's going to happen in these other cuts, we still only got a hint of that, right? Like it wasn't even in its totality. Like she mentioned it, but also she just mentioned like it briefly. So I was actually a little confused. And then eventually like we saw another scene, but I was like, I could have had more. So I liked her one-liner. She definitely was the comedic relief in this film, and her playing off of Jeff Goldblum's character. I think because, Jeff is kind of the OG comedic relief in the first one. It was nice to kind of see them play off of each other. Chris Pratt, he does what he does in this film. He's a raptor trainer. And so, you like to see that bond that he's developed with the Raptors. But yeah, when it comes to the script, I truly was just like, huh? What? Where? What's happening? I don't know. It felt like we could have done a different type of villain because, the villain in this particular film who owns this, big company is really just the same villain we've seen in the beginning.
It's the same thing, KB. And it's the exact same thing. They didn't. The only place that they had the imagination for me was in the new dinosaurs. When you see, the one that they got the long whatever and is slashing people like Freddy Krueger. But that's the only place that they had imagination. And it not only felt rushed, it just felt discombobulated. It felt off kilter, like it never really ever got its legs. And every time I see Black folks in these films, I'm always looking to see, do we ever get a love interest? Everybody else gets to walk out, get to kiss somebody, get to walk out into the sunset with somebody else, and the Black person is left just sitting there like, okay.
That's true.
I guess I'm by myself.
That's true, because high key, I mean, and I might be in the minority when I say this, because I loved Laura Dern as, Dr. Sadler, like in the original one. And I really liked Sam as Alan Grant, but I didn't like them as a couple. Like, even when I was young, I was like, this is not necessary.
But
like,
you talked about this, though. She said that their pairing was remotely inappropriate. I think, weren't they like 20 years apart or something like that?
In age?
Like 10 years, like a good gap in real life. And
I'm looking now because I'm like, how old are they?
But first of all, Reggie, I'm mad at you that you really thought they were going to have a new, how can I say this, a new plot The plot is always people thinking that the humans and the dinosaurs could coexist. That was where they first went wrong, right? Where you like, science has proved that that was not possible. Okay, so we once again are trying to have, whether it's an amusement park or whether it is, we have had this scenario before. Like I said, as Jeff Goldblum said it best, we've always say this, and then we have a lot of oohs and ahs, and then they're screaming and running. That's basically what Jurassic Park is. The problem is they were trying to bring all these people together, and then you have, I get the sentiment, but it was kind of like cut and paste. Well, okay, we went to this step, now we got to bring this person in, now we got to go over here because we have to make sure we have time for these two people, and then this person over here, and then, oh, wait a minute, that's right, we have to have our villain, and it's still kind of hodgepodge. Basically, it is what I said. It's what Jeff said. It's a lot of running, a lot of screaming, and dinosaurs.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not, Kathia. It's and
But the best part is the dinosaurs. You know what I mean? We all do it. Like when I went to the Museum of Natural Science with my daughter, and they had the Tyrannosaurus Rex, I did the little thing in front of it, right? That's what we're coming to see. We're coming to see the dinosaurs. Now, I know why Reggie keeps thinking it's going to be deep. We're going to have an explanation. If the black people got to live, that was your win. You expected them to have a love story as well. Now, Reggie, now you reach it, right? I gave you a black person, and you want love story, and the black person lived. We gave you like 3 wins. And you want a 4th one.
And you trying to have all these other stories. That's actually a really, really good point about what wins that we did get. I don't want to butcher his name, but Mamadou.
Yeah.
Mamadou. They gave him a lot of agency here. That you're the next one in line. You're the next smartest, most brilliant, most great person out there. And I really appreciated that. And it wasn't no like you kind of the next person. No, you are it. You are it. You're the next person in line. So I really do love your point that we got some wins. I just always noticed that though, that everybody gets to walk out.
You're not wrong though. You're not wrong, because again, we got to find a way in these big blockbuster movies. It's like everyday life. We live life, we eat, we have joys, we have sadness. And we want to have adventure, and we want to be the hero, and we want to go home and we want somebody to be like, yeah, you did it. You're the one who saved us. So I think we're like 75% of the way there. And there needs to be more of us in the room to be like, yeah, this is cool, but this time out, we need X, Y, and Z, because they know we're going to come. A black person, let us come and support, because they might not put another black person in here. Oh, the black person got to live. Let's tell other people, come on, put your coin in there. So it's just it. But you have a very good point. We just talked about 2 movies where there were black people, but they were side dancers, backup dancers.
There was no love.
Just there for the diversity tick. But if this is the last one, this is a sad way to go. That I will.
Yeah, but you know what, Reggie?
Sad way to go out.
And Reggie brings up a good point, because I really didn't think about that. But now that I'm thinking about it, there is like a scene in the movie where I was thinking to myself, not DeWanda just standing here while they're having a romantic moment. Like I kind of was like, oh, like why is she just standing?
It is,
why her character just.
That's what it is. And I think what this movie a little bit is lacking that the other one have, Tom Cruise is that guy that people are coming to see do whatever. We want him to jump out of the airplanes or whatever the heck he's going to do, right? Whereas Chris Pratt is doing all of that. It's give or take for me.
Well, I was about to say, I think the biggest difference is obviously, Tom Cruise has such that a huge following just behind his name.
Yes.
I think people are coming to see Jurassic World because of the franchise name.
It's
never really been about any of the characters, to be honest, because to your point, the dinosaurs are the stars. So like, this is why you're like, oh yes, let me go see what, truly people were cheering as soon as the T-Rex showed up in my theater. Like, yes.
Yeah, that's what we come.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
so
gonna eat the people? Good for you. Eat some more people.
but this is what I'm gonna say, and so I'm gonna leave you guys with the last word on this, so we can get into these to our television segment. But this was I'm saying that people can go watch it. As I've said in the beginning, I just think as the way to go out, it didn't do the franchise justice. Is that the other films were better to me, and that first one, I had the same kind of feeling that you had, KB, in terms of just from a cinematic perspective, like, wow, whoa, ooh, ah. There was very little of that. I had a decent time because I wasn't expecting a lot, but I'm saying even not expecting a lot, they didn't deliver on the overall promise that the franchise has. So for me, this is a watch it if you dying to see something in the theaters this week, but I'm not saying run out and go check it out. KB.
I think what I just realized is when I watched the first one, I also was terrified, which I think is like you really had a genuine fear of the dinosaurs, like, oh my gosh. I never once got that feeling in this one. So it was very much like the dinosaurs are cool and I came to see them, but it was different. It was more like,
can I say this, KB? Because I want to see if this is what you mean. Is that there's a scene in the first one where the dinosaur looks like it's going to eat the kid, and the kid has to be still or whatever.
yes.
And that I felt that. Is that the kind of thing?
Like I was genuinely like, oh my gosh, this child might die. Like that's truly how I felt in this one. But in this one, I did get that same feeling, like the stakes weren't that high, in my personal opinion. I guess I just felt like it was a very kind of predictable film. But to Kathia's point, again, we are here for the dinosaurs. That's why I'm here, because I mean, listen, I know that science has proven dinosaurs and humans don't work, but I would still sign up for it. Like, and I know that doesn't make sense logically as a scientist myself. However, they're so intriguing to me that I'm like, I would just say yes. So I think that it's a watch it in the sense that if you are someone who wants to see how the franchise ends, I personally don't think this is going to be the end. I feel like they always say it's the end and then they come back in some capacity and it's not. Also, to both y'all's points, if this is the end, then I'm sad because it was not, we didn't go out with the stakes that were high enough for me, like, so we'll see. But I do think it's a watch it for those people who are fans of the franchise, because I do think that you'll get to see some nostalgic moments and some of your old favorite characters come back. And now you might be confused. So, I mean, just, hang on to your heads, because there are often times where you just go be like, I don't understand what's happening, but the dinosaurs are there. So,
all right, what you got? What you got, Kathia?
Come for the dinosaurs. We just said it earlier. If you coming for deep plot, whatever, go attend the film festival. Go to Tribeca. They're gonna give you plots. If you want to just have some fun and throw all rhyme and reason out the window, then these are the movies for you. Just come for a kiki.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna go see Top Gun for the kiki, and I'm gonna wait for Jurassic Park on the TTV. And speaking about the TTTV, we want to move into our TV section, and let's see. Let's talk All Rise. So who got that?
Now listen, I rep All Rise
this season yet, but I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, I rep All Rise maybe as hard as I rep Ted Lasso, to be quite honest, in the scheme of TV shows that I adore. So All Rise is finally back, as everyone knows, and if you don't know, then you about to find out. It was canceled by CBS because they have no chill. It was canceled by CBS in May of 2021. I was heartbroken. And then the Oprah Winfrey Network picked it up. So the third season just premiered 2 nights ago on June 7th. And let me tell you, I mean, we dive right in. So for the most part, I will say everyone is back for the most part, minus Lola's husband. So there was a casting change, and the original actor who portrayed her husband is no longer there. So there is a new actor stepping in to fill that. And so for OG fans, it is noticeable. Like, I mean, it is a drastic change for us, I think.
It's noticeable.
in the portrayal too, because I think that the new actor Christian Keys, who is portraying her husband, just brings a little bit something different that we're not used to, from the original actor that played her husband. But otherwise, everyone else is back and back to their antics. Listen, they really kicked the door down immediately by making some stakes for Lola, which I actually kind of appreciate because, I do feel like oftentimes in this series, Lola has been pushing boundaries as a judge in LA County, but she never really had to be concerned because she always had Judge Brenner to really kind of serve as like her protector in a lot of these spaces. And so it's interesting to see how immediately that level of protection is kind of gone, and then kicks back in, and then it's gone again. So I'm curious to see how this season shakes out for her in that regard, because, she's really kind of flying solo in a lot of ways, and we haven't seen this before. But I will say, it is very good to have everyone back. We do have a little switch up, a little change, though, this season. Luke. I feel like Luke be going back and forth every season. Luke, what are you going to be, a prosecutor or a defender? Like, what's the truth, Luke? Because Luke be going back and forth to both sides, and I just need to know the truth. So
I like these characters, though. I'm so happy that they brought this one back, because I told you offline is that I love all of the women. I love the cast, but I love all of the women in this particular film. I mean film, a series. I'm like, thank you. They all have something interesting to do, something interesting to say. They have love interests. They have full lives. They kick their love interest to the side. I mean, they just have stuff. I like it. It just makes them so interesting. So when Donna and I are watching TV, we sit down and thoroughly enjoy All Rise. It is very, very noticeable to me that they have a different husband, that there's a different husband. I mean, it is, and it took a bit for me to get used. I mean, even in the show, I don't know if I'm used to it yet, but I mean, it took a bit for me to accept it. It's like, that doesn't feel like him. That doesn't feel like him. That doesn't feel like him. But I'm very, very happy that they brought this series back.
Yeah, and Emily is back too. So Luke Emily dance, I'm curious to see how that shakes out, because I felt like we did this dance a lot in season 2, and now I just need them to commit to each other and let's move forward on the personal life tip. Like, yes, let's just do it. But I'm curious to see how, as the season continues, how personal lives continue to intertwine with the professional ones, because as we know, Lo and Mark are always doing this dance of being best friends, and her having, like significant power over him in a lot of ways because she's a judge and he's still an attorney. And so I'm curious what that looks like, but it's good that people are back. I do feel like this premiere episode was kind of like how I felt about Top Gun Maverick. It's good for people who may be new to the series as a whole. Like, there's still introduction to these characters in a way that you're like, okay, yeah, I definitely need to watch the first 2. Like, I definitely should watch the first 2 seasons. But if I'm new joining, because, it's on OWN, it's on a new network, and I really want to see it, you can still understand what's happening. But I'm just happy to see so many Black and brown faces back on the screen in an authentic way, where we're just living our lives fully fleshed out and, just dealing with the injustices in the criminal system. Like, I truly adore this show from top to bottom. I know we have a long way to go as the season progresses. I actually have only seen the first 2, so I have no idea where, we're headed. But I did attend a press conference for, the series, and it was lovely to hear them say just the amount of creative freedom that they have now being on a cable network, and some of the things to come. So they were like, the show will be a bit more mature than it was on CBS. And I'm digging that. Like, yes, let's go in that direction.
That's really good. Now, Kathia, I know you haven't seen it yet, but
I haven't seen this season. I am glad that the OWN network picked it up, because it's not an expensive show, and I think it especially with like Queen Sugar leaving soon, it leaves the door open for them to have a additional drama on there. Do you know what I mean? A strong drama on there now that Greenleaf is gone. So that also is another reason why they can invest a little bit more into that show.
No.
And I do think one of the highlights of the show, though, that is still continued and I appreciate, is that there's always a case at the center that like pulls on your heartstrings. Always, in some capacity. You know, it's always like some case that will either make you upset or make you sad or make you. And so I like that they still kept that about the show. You know, now that it's on a different network, because I do think it's important and it's one of the things that makes you love the show for sure.
Yeah, and
So
the thing I throw in there and make you think, because you'll think about that situation, like what would I do in this situation, and then when you have the defender and the prosecutor, you get to feel both sides of that. I know that's what law shows do, but I think they do a good job of doing that from a human perspective as opposed to just a pure law perspective. So
yeah.
I like it. Good
So
stuff.
I'm like, yeah, let's keep it moving. Let's keep the energy great for this season. And also, let's make sure that Mark stopped running. Mark can be so great. And he is always running from just being, he just want to go unseen. I'm like, it's time for Mark to be a boss because he can be.
All right. Well, here we go with that. Last thing we're going to talk about, and I'm not going to be able to talk about it because I haven't seen it, but I do like the show. I think it's a bold show, so I'm hoping that the second season continues to be bold and doesn't kind of settle into some just being mediocre. But you guys will be the ones to tell me that. But I am hoping so, because I think the characters are different, and then the look and the peek into that life is different as well. When we all talked about this show, I watched the full first season, and so it kept my interest. I think they had some nice little twists and turns throughout. Mama in church doing little things. I mean, all kind of stuff happening. So I'll bow out and let you guys talk about P Valley.
Down in the valley. I love how they incorporated the pandemic in this. How Uncle Clifford, you know, they had to get innovative because the strip club was closed, but we still had to make it rain. You know what I mean? I love how they did it, and how life has affected that small town. You know what I mean? And just all the different characters. Uncle Clifford ain't holding the reins anymore because he don't by himself, because she don't get the checkbook. Somebody else does. Somebody else making it rain. Brandy Evans' character is still trying to, you know, recover from the scrapple with her mama, who trying to be the church lady, you know, she's trying to be the next bishop, and she out there fake caring about the community so she can keep her standing. And, you know, everybody is trying to find, and Mercedes and Lil Murder go on the road. Lil Murder taking his music to the next stop, you know, and Lil Murder still in the closet or confused or whatever the situation is. So he really out here trying to be gangster. And we all want Mercedes to leave old boy.
Oh, like, no, that's Keyshawn. That's Keyshawn.
I'm sorry, that's Keyshawn. Okay, we want, not Mercedes, Mississippi. We want her to leave old boy. Like, it's not even because he's white. He's just trash. You know what I mean?
And also racist.
Oh, my God. Yeah, like, they're talking about, there's an episode, was it episode 1? Where they're on the porch and him and his relations are talking about black folks. And I'm just like, but she right here. She right here. And you have a whole kid. And that whole thing, you know what I mean? And I also love how they like incorporated like a version of OnlyFans for her to make money. But the point is, they're on the road. She managed to get out the house and get on the road with him because his bum ass don't got no money and he can't get no job. So they need her to go on the road, and they're getting into a whole heap of mess. But also, I'm very curious to see how Little Murder is navigating who he really is while trying to have this rap career and be this gangster, you know, Gucci down everything. And also we got some new girls at the Pink. We got some new girls that, you know, one is a star tender trying to be a stripper, or a stripper tender. That's a word I made up. The other one is a little bit more street, you know what I mean? And we still are getting the good, you know, pole dancing, which is amazing. I think for these actresses to you know, not have done this before, and for them to do the splits and all of that, I'd have been like, you know what, I'm gonna twirl around a little bit, then get old girl come up here and then make it work, because it's a lot. I was tired just seeing it, but I love my one thing is I think Nico, what he does as Uncle Clifford is so amazing, because it's a character that has agency, is comfortable in who they are. Even when he showed up at that funeral,
Period. In the best outfit. In the best outfit.
And it just,
I want to say this, Kathia, because I haven't seen it, is that's the special sauce for this show for me, is what they do with Uncle Clifford. Because I said this before when we were talking about the first season, is that it's not a caricature.
No, it's a real authentic person.
And a lot of times we make that person
a sad case.
Almost like you're trying to make fun of what that person is, or what that person does. Almost like there's a joke about it, but there's no joke. This is how Uncle Clifford is. This is what Uncle Clifford represents. And I just think, for one of the characters, I may need to watch some other stuff, but I just think that Uncle Clifford kills it in this. I mean,
I was just gonna say, I wish that we had a more open-minded voting academy with the Emmys, and even as far as the Image Awards, because he deserves to be in that 5. I mean, I feel like Billy Porter kind of opened the door a little bit, and I just feel like, now walk all the way through, because this is a real good performance and a unique character, and it's pushing the culture forward. But that's a whole nother episode.
What you got, KB?
Yeah, so I generally do not like when shows incorporate the pandemic, and let me tell you why. It's because we want escapism. I want escapism. And I'm like, we are dealing with the pandemic in real life, so I don't like it. But I will say, because they did it briefly, like it's not actually, like a new character on the show, because that for me would have been, I feel like, too much. I appreciate how they did it. And because I think the direction that they're going in this season of just really trying to look at not only the financial implications of what the pandemic did to them as a business, but also, as a community, Chuckalissa being, heavily Black and brown, what it means to lose people, and so I think they did a good job of weaving that in together, but not having the pandemic be overpowering and overwhelming, in a sense, which I have found that some TV shows have leaned, kind of too heavily into, and it wasn't really my thing. So I'm appreciative of that so far. From what I've seen, this is one of my favorite shows for a few reasons. And it's mostly because not only do they have women directing these episodes, so even when you're getting the strip club scenes, they are not from a male gaze. It's not intended in that way, but also because, yes, these women are sex workers, but they are so much more. And what I love that Katori Hall does is shows them as mothers, as partners, as business women, as people just trying to figure it out. Like there are so many layers that she provides in each character. So you guys have mentioned Nico and Uncle Clifford. That character is exceptional, because I believe that, that they are doing life in a way that is authentic to themselves, but it translates so well on screen because they just are who they are. And that's what I like to see in every single character on the show. Everyone is just who they are. And honestly, they're all just trying to make it, like Chuckalissa is not a city where, it's booming in a lot of ways. It's really a city steeped in poverty. And so everyone here is trying to figure out a way to not only just get out of like this cycle of poverty, but survive and make it. And so it just touches on so many incredible, great themes, but also just allows us the space to be Black people as we are, and just trying to figure it out, and the things that we like and the things that we don't like. I think that Brandy Evans continues to also dominate this show, in the sense that her storyline with her mother is so intricate and detailed and intriguing and heartbreaking, and how it even impacts her relationship with her daughter in the show.
Right.
Like, it is one of the best storylines to even follow on TV. And so I just like seeing that. I honestly like that Haley is the businesswoman this season, because high key people forgot that's what she does. Like, I think, like, it's like, yeah, she came to town on a lot of different shady things, but at the end of the day, she's a money girl. Like, she know how to make things happen. And so having her in that, really makes sense. But it also, this kind of struggle between her and Uncle Clifford, in terms of Uncle Clifford being like, this is my business that I've loved and I've catered to and I've, built from the ground up. And here, I gotta have you here though, because we broke. Like, I don't have no money without it. That's an interesting struggle too, because to have to trust someone wholly who high key you don't really know that well. Like, Haley still doesn't really say much, right? Like, she's proven to be loyal in some ways, but also he still doesn't know her. So I think like the entire situation is just really intriguing and interesting to see. And I also would be remiss if I didn't mention, I know the actor's name, Dan
Taylor?
Johnson.
Are you talking about Taylor?
Colton. No, I'm talking about,
Colton.
It's Colton, I think.
Yes.
Okay. Colton. Now, not Colton just coming back to start some mess. I wish you would go back to where you came from.
Who?
It's Dan Johnson. Dan Johnson is his
Dan Johnson who plays huh?
But I think his character's name is Colton.
No,
if I remember
Corbin.
Corbin.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, Corbin. Yeah, sorry. I was like, I know it begin with a C, but Corbin, not Corbin coming back from the depths of the gutter, like to try to. I said, Corbin, if you do not sit down and chill, because we do not need your type of drama in this life again. But I'm always interested to see, Andres had to sit down too, due to COVID and due to the fact that things are not going well with his wife, and now his godfather is dead. So I just think that the storylines are so intriguing, and everything is like one large puzzle piece. So I'm curious to see kind of how this continues to progress.
So is this? So I watched the first season. Is this one of those that you saying, Reggie? Yeah, check out the first season. That those first few episodes say, yeah, let's check out the second season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And I do want to shout out Rhonda Rasha Penrice, who did a review for The Wrap, because I think people should read that one as well. I just don't think, what I don't want is for people to automatically write the show off because it's, about a strip club and it's about, sex work. I want them to really watch the show because it's so much more.
No,
like, yes, it is about that, but it's so much more.
The thing that Katori says that I really, really like, because I have family from down south that live in a small town like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Same. They do talk like that. And they do go to the one club that, is not necessarily a strip club, but it's like a bar thing with barbecue in the back and a dance floor. And then on the weekend be like a DJ. That's their form of entertainment. They know they're not the big city and they're okay with that. They're cool with who they are. And I think too often when people who are not of the culture see a show like that, they just see TNA. And also, we as Black people made strip clubs cool. Before, you didn't have girlfriend night at the strip club, couples night at the strip club. You would have his and her, you have his and her nights at the strip club. That was not what was happening. We made that. Like, we made going to the strip club like going to the regular. Are we going to have some drinks? We're going to have some food. And then we're going to come over here and get this section and make it rain. It is understood you're spending money at a strip club. And I think for a lot of people who aren't of that culture, they think of it as, lack of a better word, vulgar or salacious. And we know, like, if you've ever taken a pole class or a chit, you're like, ooh, child, it's only been 5 minutes. I'm good. Y'all see me tomorrow. It takes a lot of stamina to do that. You have to know how to speak to clients. You have to be personable. Like Brandy was teaching how to pick everybody out. And it's not, you can't just be up there twerking. Okay, everybody know how to twerk at that club. So it's a whole thing around, around the people. The girls have to be very savvy. Who do you go with? What are the boundaries and all this other stuff? And I think, and it's good that it's about sex workers, because we need to be a little bit more mature as workers and say consenting adults, keyword, consenting adults. that is the way of the world. You don't have to participate in it. You don't have to like it, but it's a real business. And this is a legal business. And a lot of these women understand, like, this is a cash grab. I'm not here to, this ain't a love affair or whatever. I think Mercedes represents that best. She understands I'm here to get my money and keep it moving. So I think that's a new type of character to see, a woman that's very cold, very removed. And we know why, because her mom was crazy. But I think the show is very well written. Again, I wish more people that weren't of the culture would give it its flowers and would, you know, write about it. And I am glad that Rhonda wrote about it, because I know Rhonda's going to get it together.
What I like that what you said, Katia, is about the varied people that they have in here, because they have the sex worker who might be doing some I guess things that you'd be like, do I really want to go down that route? But you also have the sex worker who's like, I'm conflicted as I want to keep on doing this kind of work. Then you have a sex worker who's like, I'm just trying to get paid and get my money. So I think that what Kathia does is shows that there's a spectrum of people who are in this business, and each one of them have different reasons. And yes, some of it could be sketchy, because she doesn't stray away from that to try to make it all high and mighty now. And I like that about her, because that means that she's trying to give us a real look into the life, as opposed to saying, hey, everybody's so businesslike, everybody's so like, hey, this is how I'm going to run my life. You got the sketchy girls in there as well. So I like the spectrum that she gives there. And I think that because she's getting into their life and their mindset, that's what makes the show interesting. You know, when you look at somebody, again, going back to Uncle Clifford, a character, that could just be anybody. But the fact that we're getting into the life and the mindset of these people, I think that's the thing that makes this one to watch. And I'm very happy to hear that both of you guys are saying that's season 2.
She understands the culture. You know, there is this clash right now between star tenders and strippers. Some star tenders are making more money. The strippers get upset. Whatever this is, that is a real thing going on in strip club culture. And I love the fact that she doesn't try to clean it up. And you know, the thing with Keyshawn, you know, we want to reach through the TV and be like, girl, like, for real, like,
yeah.
You agree with this, but you would, oh boy, here.
Well, you know what? I feel like, but Keyshawn is a realistic, portrayal of that, because Keyshawn is thinking of it like she doesn't want her family to be broken. She's looking at it from the lens of like, okay, but he is still my family. You know, we're raising our child together, et cetera, et cetera. So she's making a lot of excuses. Don't get me wrong. I don't think she should be with him, but I also feel like this is something that occurs quite often when people have this type of, you know, kind of relationship. And so, yeah, I want people to see it for so much more than just, I don't want people to box it in and saying it's just a show about sex work, because it's not just a show about sex work. It is a show about sex work, as it should be, because sex work is work and people should be more open to that and more understanding. But it's also a family drama. It's also, you know, it's a lot of different
things. Chosen family, yeah.
And just like we are not a monolith, neither is this show. So you are going to get a lot of different dynamics, and it's a 100%, you know, watch it for me every time.
Well, listen, watch it. Absolutely. I'm like, come for the boobs, stay for the story.
All right. I love it. Well, we can't stay too much longer, but before we go, I want to make sure that I know what you guys have in the hopper, where people can check out some stuff. We didn't do that at the top of the show. KB, what you're working on, and what can people go check out? Because I know you got some kind of phenomenal interview that I'm going to be jealous about.
You know what? Right now, that came out today. If you would check out on Nerdophiles, I did get to attend the global press conference for Miss Marvel. So Miss Marvel, the first Muslim superhero TV show, is out now on Disney Plus. It did premiere yesterday, and so I did get an opportunity to attend the global press conference. And so, you know, that interview is out on Nerdophiles now. I mean, honestly, I am really digging this show. I have, not seen the full season, but I've seen, a couple of episodes, and this Iman Vellani, who portrays the titular character Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, is so endearing, so lovely, such a kind, like, I just think that, like, you know, even during that press conference, she's just so kind. And, you know, this is really her first kind of foray into anything. And I'd be like, when people are like, this is my first foray into acting, she reminds me of Maitre from Never Have I Ever, who, you know, that's her first real, you know, like kind of acting experience. And I was like, well, y'all about to just, you know, keep rising to the top. So I think the show is fun. It's fresh. The music is so good. Oh my gosh, the music is so incredible. And also it's just visually beautiful. It's visually stunning. And I do like that, like, yes, you know, we get to see, you know, like her and her family and her friends go to mosque and to pray, and to go to school and to, you know, deal in this superhero MCU realm and see her be a fan. So yeah, you can check out the interview now on Nerdophiles. But I love that she's just a fan of the MCU who happens to also now get to be in the MCU. That's really sweet.
I like that too. I like that too. Thank you so much. All right, Kathia, what you got working? Because you just got through telling us you had to finish an article, you had to do this, what you got?
What happened? Oh, so you can go to the Philadelphia Tribune, read my recap of Roots Picnic, which was, you know, 2-day heat and dust and everything. Then Udunde, if you're in Philadelphia, Udunde is on Sunday, which is the African festival, Philly's favorite festival. A lot of good food, a lot of good merch, a lot of good entertainment. Dougie Fresh is the headliner for that. So go down there on Sunday, act accordingly, you know. Bring your kids and all of that. So hopefully, barring good weather, go out and have a good time. Got a chance to talk to Boomy. Today, I got a chance to speak to my favorite DJ, Jazzy Jeff. We're like buddies now. He has a residency coming out, and I have an article coming out on Tommy Davidson, who I spoke to him today. And he was a lot of fun and a lot of joy. So it's been, your girl's been booked and busy. And I'm still trying, like, you know, my bones were hurting from all that walk around. Siri was very disrespectful. She said, you set a new record for today. Well, gosh darn it, I did. I walked all over Fairmount Park. You two would have set a record with that. And I have to say, on a high note, Dawn, I got a chance to speak to Dawn Staley, North Philly's finest, Olympic gold medalist, North Carolina women's basketball head coach, national champion. She was an absolute doll. Like, he had us cracking up out there. You know, and she's a good spirit, and it's nice to see. Unfortunately, we had some other stuff going on, but as far as Roots Picnic, we were good. We were straight, and Jasmine Solomon, so it's fabulous.
Well,
ooh, I mean, I'm jealous because I've been trying to see Jasmine. So, like, woo.
She's also going to be, like, I did a quick thing for Made in America, which, you know, is going to be a little bit below my age grade. But she was so, like, I didn't realize, you know, I love when a singer is comfortable in her skin and she has banter, like, she knows her audience and she has banter, and she's not willing to be, you know, tight, cute singer. She was out there cracking jokes and everything like that. And she sounded beautiful.
Wow. Well,
love it.
Well, firstly, both of you guys were fantastic, and you both are beautiful to me. I really appreciate you guys. So appreciate your time.
Reggie, what you got? What you working on?
What? I mean, Reggie, you gonna plug some stuff?
What's the truth? Like a secret life.
So let's see what I got working. I am currently working on. I think I have I know I had an article out on in Variety about made in New Jersey films that are out in New Jersey. Then my Blackish article for the end of the season. I think it should come out soon, or there's because it's around awards, you know, stuff, and so I got that working. And then I'm working on a third article, which I just submitted to Variety on something else, and I can't talk about that yet. But been a little bit busy, not a lot.
Reggie's like, I got an article.
Right. Like, talk about I've been a little bit busy.
Then I got something going on for award season. Right. Reggie be living that secret life. We know it's basketball season finals, but we also know that you cooking up other stuff.
Look,
Right.
I appreciate that, but when you start talking about Dawn Staley, all I get to my heart just starts to melt because there's nobody else I'd like to meet. That woman is a bad sister. That's a bad
She
sister
is
right there.
funny. Like when I tell you, she was up there cracking jokes, and she said, "Oh, I can't." People were like, they wanted to take a picture of her. She was like, she's doing she goes, "Hold on now, I can't get down them knees." And what they used to be the last thing, the story needs to be that I fell off the stage at Ruth's picnic and over to the front. No, no, no. So that was, I love that she acknowledged that she,
No,
as
no,
we all
no.
know, like, when you get to a certain age, the knees, your spirit is there, but the knees will lock up on you in a minute. So I appreciated her that. And then she was saying that she got lost in the sea of people when she was out there watching Mary and Jasmine. And then she was like, hold up, but what's my exit plan? And then she was like standing next to the commissioner, a police commissioner of Philadelphia. She said, "Oh, the commissioner like made it like a way for her." She said, "I had like a police escort to get out of the sea of people." So but I love that she was out there just being Dawn from North Philly, being home and just enjoying herself and talking to the people. She did the podcast with Jamil Hill, but she was just very like, "Hey, and where are you from? And you people came from where? Okay, okay." And she was very
I love that.
more engaging than Jamil. Jamil was a little bit more stand backish, but I love the fact that no matter how much success that she has, her love for the city, her love for her hometown, and she's still Dawn from around the way.
Well, I
Love it.
love it as well. Hey, thanks again, you guys. That's the show. Hopefully, we'll be back soon. You guys caught up with me, so I appreciate it. And this is the Real Critic Roundtable, where African American critics come to discuss, debate, and have some fun. We did all that today. Hope you guys check out my friends and all their various places, and we'll see you folks next time.